I never thought my biggest challenge would be learning to love myself. April 16th, 2009, the day my world turned upside down. There I was, a curvy Christian woman from Riverdale, Georgia, facing a battle I never saw coming. Just hours before my grandmother's funeral, I received news that changed everything. Folks around here, they got opinions. Lord, do they have opinions? But when you're dealing with loss, pain, and a body that won't cooperate, those opinions can crush you. I had to ask myself, am I gonna let their words define me? Or am I gonna write my own story? Y'all, it ain't easy. Some days I wanted to give up, but that ain't the Southern way. I learned that true strength comes from within, from loving yourself, flaws and all. Now I'm here to tell you, your limitations, they're just other people's definitions. It's time to redefine your story, to love yourself fiercely and unapologetically. Because when you do that, honey, you can conquer any fear. Are you ready to walk beyond your limitations? Join me on this journey of self-discovery and let's break free together. Remember, your story is yours to write. Make it a bestseller. Walking Limitations, because love conquers all fears.
And we are back. I missed this lady right here. We had to take a detour last week because of Resurrection Day, and we wanted to make sure that everybody, not saying they wouldn't enjoy the book club, but we just really wanted to just take time with our family and our friends and just reflect on the love of Jesus. So we took a week off, but we are back and we are ready. We got questions, Laquita Parks. We got questions about this book. I'm so excited. I'm happy you're here.
Thank you.
How you doing, my love?
I would lie and say I'm doing good, but it's been a battle. But I'm here. I'm here, and I'm gonna push through it, just like always.
Got you, girl. I wish I could play. I could play some music. I would, but I got a special surprise for you.
Okay.
I got a special surprise. So let's jump right into it. Okay. So I am Jacqueline Cox, aka Listen Linda. This is the Listen Linda Book Club. The book of the April book of the month is Walking Limitations by Other People's Definitions by Dr. Laquita Parks. Dr. Laquita Parks is our author of the month. And today we have with us Sandra Washington and Myra Cook. They have some more people coming in, but right now these are some of the members of the book club, and we got questions. Dr. Parks, we got questions. So the first couple of weeks, I don't think that we really got into a bunch of questions about the book. We just basically kind of got into what it was like writing the book, what influenced you to write the book, and then some of your projects. So I want to start by asking, you mentioned in the book, we just go right into it. Hey, Gabby, that's my girl, y'all, in the background.
I said, Gabby, you got to be quiet. She said, I am quiet.
I can see.
She said she can't see. You might have to put her on your lap so she can see us, honey. You mentioned that you repressed. You mentioned that you repressed much of the memories surrounding your incident. How has uncovering or working through those buried memories affected your healing journey?
You know what? That's a good question. It has. I don't know if it has affected so much as me having to come to an acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So when you and let me preface that by saying acceptance. I mean, coming to the actualization that these things are real doesn't mean that you accept the diagnosis or that you are that's the end of it. That's the end all to the be all. Acceptance doesn't mean that, okay, you know what, this is it for me. Acceptance means that I am going to, for me, it's let me research, let me advocate for myself, let me let me find out what is this condition. Let me find out everything I know about it, what I can do for myself, how to advocate for myself. So the realization of it has taught me that, you know what, this is, you know, some people say, you know, well, you don't believe. I hear it all the time, and excuse me, my thinking is a little choppy. I haven't been feeling well. But some people will say, "Oh, that's just what the doctors say." Oh, don't you know? You don't accept it, or we not gonna
we gonna bind that in the
yeah,
name
we
of
gonna
Jesus.
bind it. But what's the word that they say?
We don't
Oh, I
accept
don't
that.
receive that. Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
receive
accept
that.
that. Well, it's not a matter of receiving that. Some people think that if the doctor says that you have this condition or that condition, that you accept it and that's just it. Oh, I'm gonna die. That's it. That isn't in my situation. That isn't it. Accepting means you know when something's wrong with you. You know when you don't feel well. It's like if you just sneeze. It's like if you have a cold. You know that yesterday I didn't feel like this. Yesterday I wasn't sneezing and I didn't have these aches. So something different is going on. So for me, it's okay. You know what? I know I'm not crazy. I knew something was going on with me. Now, what do we do with it?
Yeah.
So that helped me come to a realization that, okay, the next step is on me. It's not on the doctors. They do their part, but it's we got to help do our part too. So that's what that meant for me.
Yeah, you know what? And I can relate to that too because I get diagnoses about things all the time, and a lot of people in my family say, "Oh, I bind that. We not going to accept that. We not going to receive that." And to me, I had to really let them know, like, no, that's I feel like you dismissing me. I feel like what is going on with me. You instead of you wanting to help me go through it and help me battle this thing emotionally, the way that you're trying to make yourself okay with what I got going on is to just completely ignore it.
And
Okay.
dismiss
And
it.
it's not like I don't believe in God or I don't believe that He's going to take this illness from me. But in the midst of what's going on now, I don't need a dismissive statement. I don't need oh, we don't accept that. God gonna deliver you. That's not what I need to hear right now because I know in my mind what God is gonna do for me. But I feel like people say that to try to sweep under the rug what you got going on because they don't want to help you deal with what you got going on.
And you know what? And you read the Bible. I read the Bible. Did the Bible say everybody was healed? The Bible doesn't say everybody that
Nope.
suffered an ailment was healed. In fact, the Bible said Paul had a thorn in the flesh. Well, we don't know what his thorn in the flesh was, but God said, "My grace is sufficient." So sometimes the things that we go through is so that our grace can be sufficient. God's grace can be sufficient, but we can live with it and better ourselves and others in the midst of it. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but I know with everything that I've gone through, sometimes, this baby get loud when I get loud. Sometimes people, like you said, they'll dismiss it. But when people, you have to be very careful with that, because when people are going through and you have people who say, now I'm an advocate for, let's see what holistic things we can do. Because if I took, that if I took all the medicine that they gave me, I don't know where I would be. But when you have people that say, "Oh, well, if I were you, I wouldn't take all that medicine and I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that," you do detriment to people, because sometimes people listen to that, and it could be sometimes when your body is so out of whack, you need that medicine to bring you back, or you may need that medicine to bring you to a point where then you can come off of it, and then you can do some things and do some changes of lifestyle. So that's how I feel about that.
You know what? You spoke about I can't remember what chapter. But I know I wrote this down. So excuse me, I literally wrote stuff down. You spoke about remembering the green toys from your uncle's visit. How do you think small acts of kindness, even like in traumatic times, leave a lasting impact on a person's spirit?
I think that's a good question. Um, I think when you are genuine, and when you do a kindness from the bottom of your heart, people feel that. As well as I think when you're not genuine, people feel that too. I remember there were not a lot of memories during that time, but I remembered that. I remembered all I kept thinking was there's these green toys. And so I had to ask my uncle, who's still alive, thank you, Lord. I had to ask him, what that was. And he, you know, I was in I went in the hospital. It wasn't Christmas, but I was there so long. Christmas came and I was in the hospital for Christmas. So, you know, I celebrated Christmas during that time. And it was a kindness that I remember, because that stood out as a happy time.
Right.
Everything else that was happening to me was not a happy time. So the mind the mind is such an amazing thing, because according to my therapist, I blocked out the painful things.
Mm-hmm.
So in the midst of all that, and what I say is, those green toys was the sunshine in the midst of the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to grasp a hold of that. And in doing so, I think it helped me to be able to cope during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody does a genuine act of kindness, I remember, at least I try to. We're not perfect human beings, in the mind. As you get older, the mind show gets a little sketchy. But because you remember how people made you feel.
Yeah.
When you receive those kind things, you remember how people made you feel, and it's a pay it forward.
Yeah.
And I've been really, really blessed in my life to have people do kind things for me. I had just today, my dryer went out, and my friend's husband, who is a heating and air person, came and looked at my dryer yesterday. And then I don't know what happened, but it was still not working. So after worship, he came by and he looked at it, and then looked at my other appliances, and looked at, just to make sure everything was okay. And I was like, you know, I'm like, okay, I called you out on a Sunday. You didn't have to come. You could have waited till tomorrow. But he was exhibiting an act of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I appreciate that. And he said, you're okay. You're good. So kindness begets kindness. Kindness, sometimes you can do things for kind people and you get some messy stuff in return, but that ain't got nothing to do with God. That's just that messy person. So I think it's important when you do genuinely kind things without expectation. And that's the key thing. When you're doing kind things, is it kind if you're expecting something in return?
Or is it right? Exactly. Like when you sow, you don't sow for the blessing. You sow
Exactly.
for your reward is just your feeling inside of your heart.
Exactly. Like, I did that.
Enough of that person, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, that you believe so much that God wants you to do these things, and that's the reason why you do it.
Right.
And that is something that I've really had a struggle with these last few years, because you know me, I love doing things for people, but then if I don't get it back in return, my mindset used to be, I'm always doing something for people. They don't know, nobody never want to do nothing for me. But it's not that. When I look around and I see the blessings on my life, and I see the good husband and the good kids that I got, and they make it home every day safe, that is what I get in return for me sowing seed. So we got two people that have questions, and I'm gonna bring both of them up, but I'm gonna start with Sandra Washington. She has a question, and after her, then we're gonna take Miss Denise Walker.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
You're welcome.
LaQuita, my question is this: as I was reading through your book, two things came to my mind. I saw, I just need you to give some clarification, or just let me know if I was on the right track. I saw early on, when you were in your 20s, let's say, you were going through a lot of stressful periods and a lot of negativity was surrounding you. And I'm like, okay, well, that, maybe that's what maybe that's what led, not so much led, but maybe that was what was weighing into a lot of what was going on with you as far as health wise, was that stress, that negativity, always feeling like you were being brought down or like you weren't good enough. But then towards the end, I saw that light, coming on, and I saw you was like, I'm not carrying this stress, is not mine to carry. I'm putting it down. And so now I see you as that person who has emerged from that stress and who has emerged from understanding and just removing negative people out of your life. Do you see that, how that actually transposed through your life with that happening?
Not so much that part. So I want to be clear. My walking limitations were directly related to the jab in the thigh. all of the pain, all of the turmoil, all of the physicalness, it was directly related. Now, did stress elevate that? Yes. Did stress make that worse as far as physically? Yes. But I wanted to be clear because I struggled with that for a long time, because I've had various doctors over the years say this and say that. So when I got older and I had the you know, what they call the good insurance, you know, insurance does matter. The type of insurance does matter, because you can have insurance and they won't pay some things, and then you can have some good insurance and they will pay for everything. So that it does matter. But I had the fortune of working with a company for a number of years where they had amazing insurance. I worked for them for 15 years. They had amazing insurance, and I had the opportunity to go through, and I'm sure you probably heard of Best Doctors. I had the opportunity to go through Best Doctors, and I worked with the company for so long, and I had the insurance for so long. I was able to go through a lot of the illnesses that I was having, that I wasn't sure if it was a direct relation or if it came from something else. And so I had an opportunity for the best doctors in the country to take my medical records and go through and take all of my records, do additional tests to see if all of these things, if what I'm doing is it. And that's the question that I asked. My question was, I want to know, is this a direct reflection of me being jabbed in the thigh when I was 4 years old? And every single one of those doctors said, yes, it was. So that whole part of it, that led to the connective tissue diseases. And I had a doctor a few years ago tell me it would have been better for me if they had amputated my leg at that time, because they did all these different surgeries. They took bone out of here, they took bone out my hip, bone off of here, put bone here. Well, they altered the shape of my pelvis, they altered the natural form of my body. So when you go in, that's just like if you go and you order something at a restaurant and you don't order it the way that it's made and it come out different. Say if it's a chicken sandwich and it has all the fix, and you say, well, I don't want the mayonnaise, put ketchup. I don't want the pickles, put cucumbers. It's not going to taste the way that they designed it to taste, because you've changed the natural order of it. So when they did all of these different surgeries, it changed my body. And then as I grew, as I got older, it changed the format, the way that it was supposed to form. Then I got pregnant. Couldn't have babies the way that I was supposed to be able to have babies. All of that was a direct relation. Now, did the stress exuberate it? Absolutely. Absolutely. It did. At that time, I didn't focus more on it because I had 3 small children. So they were my focus. So now those children are adults, and now I'm older and I've gone through a lot. My body, as you get older, your body breaks down. It breaks down even more. I had a conversation. Somebody did an interview with me once, and they wanted to know how it felt. It was a college student, and they wanted to know, how it feels getting older. And have I experienced this? And they say, da, 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 da. And I said to her, the thing with me is I haven't had I didn't have the benefit of growing older and growing into those growing pains and those aches and pains of what people feel like as they age. I started that process at 4 years old. So yes, the stress did exuberate it, but the stress was not the cause of it. I hope that answered your question.
No, it didn't answer, and I'm in no way did I mean to, and I'm hoping I didn't mean to say that it was like that's what caused it.
No,
but it just appeared that, as you went through your story and you was telling your story, I read that stress level. I read that, you were dependent on people who actually failed you, and that just led to more stress. Raising 3 kids at home and you on your own and you already have health issues is in fact a very stressful thing. So I'm just grateful to know and appreciative to know you now, that you're like, you know what, I dropped all of that. The books that we're in, Surgery for Your Soul, you was like, this surgery I need is to let all of this go and move forward with positivity. You got something negative you say it over there, because I'm over here, and this is the lane I'm in, and this is where I'm going to
You
stay.
will hang up on your tail. You call her with anything. She be like, you know
Right.
what? I don't. This is not in my. I don't want this in my spirit. So Jackie, I'm gonna have to call you back. 'Cause this ain't
Right.
it.
And you know what? It's funny because Sandra, I had to learn to get to that point
Mhm.
because when I went through the divorce, it was difficult because I didn't know anything about being married. You know,
Mhm.
I didn't come from a family that was married. My mom was never married, and I was on my own. And so all I know is that they were my responsibility. These kids were my responsibility. And imagine trying to have your life when you're trying to live,
Right.
raise children, and then you have these, these doctors telling you. I had doctors that all they wanted when they saw me coming, they was like, "Ooh, this is an opportunity for us to experiment." And
Right.
so I had to learn what that was. And I was the link, the weakest link, because that's what I carried myself. I thought that I was, picked out to be picked on, beat up, bullied, by my ex-husband. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, thank you, Sandra. I'm sorry. I think I overstepped. My bad.
Come on, Denise, and you better not trigger her to answer no more of these questions. I love you, Sandra. Thank you so much,
Sandra.
sweetheart.
Hello, ladies.
Hey,
I had several questions, but I'm gonna try. The first thing that when I read, first of all, I want to just say it was very powerful. I left my review already on Amazon because it was good. It was really a lot of it I resonated with because of my experience and what you were saying earlier. Sometimes people will have the religious response of, we rebuke that because I'm diabetic and I can rebuke diabetes all day long. But if I go and eat a pound of, of this and a pound of that,
it's going to rebuke you.
So, and so we do have to walk by faith in the situation that we're in. So I was listening when y'all were saying that. But one of the quotes that you said at the end, you said, I had a hard time communicating with others because I didn't know how to communicate with myself. That spoke to me because and then you went into talking about loving yourself. I just thought that was powerful in itself, because I think a lot of times that's one of our issues, is being able to communicate like our feelings. Sometimes we will overlook how we feel about something to make somebody else comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And so I appreciated that. And then the other question I had, I know remember the incident with your kids were in the house and the two kids that came in. I just asked, I know it said your son had therapy, but did he later on have any other, like struggles with that later after that?
So that was when these guys were kind of came in our house, and my son was there, and he felt like he didn't protect his sister. We did therapy. I don't recall that he had any issues from there, because we are a talking family. Even today, we are talking family every day, all day. And so we address those things that's going on. With that situation, I remember, because I drove home, I got home so fast. I broke all kinds of speeding laws, but that he struggled with that for a long time. And I taught my children that I am my brother's keeper. So my son is a middle child. He's the only boy. But I taught him that, yes, you are responsible for your sisters, even though he has one older, one younger. But I also told my daughters, they are responsible for each other. The oldest is responsible for the two. The youngest is responsible for the two. They're very serious about that. They are very, very serious about that. They might fall out, and they don't stay falling out, but they will jump on each other's bandwagon in a minute. They don't play about each other. They will get off jobs and be in the street, and they'll be there for each other. So that was something that I taught them, and I'm glad that they've stuck with it. We talked he's been very protective for a long time. But I also had to say, okay, you know what? She's straight no chaser. My youngest daughter, she was kind of wilding out there for a minute. And I used to have to say to him, listen, don't go get yourself caught up in nothing because this girl acting like she crazy. Okay. So there has to be a balance in it. So he did not exhibit additional struggles, but we constantly talked. I put him in connection with like men when I went through the divorce, men of the church who took him under his wing, who taught him things, who spent time with him, took him on vacations with their family so that he could do male things, so that he was okay. And as a man, he goes through his own emotional issues sometimes, I think, because of the job that he does. But I think that he kind of works it out. And I'm the first to say, you know what, have you ever thought about talking to somebody? Because I'll tell him in a minute, you know, you don't they have some therapy on your job? So I want to make sure, because it's taboo, especially with men. Men don't talk. They're trained that, okay, it's not, what is it? It's too sensitive for you to seek therapy, but it isn't. So talking to somebody helps. So he talks to his sisters, he talks. And sometimes I'm like, you might want to talk to somebody, a professional person, because as sisters, they be like, man, go ahead, you know, but you want to make sure you're taken seriously. So I don't think he went through any. I didn't see that exhibited, and he didn't do any wilding out. Like I didn't have any trouble with him, you know, while he was at school getting in trouble, drugs. I didn't have any of those troubles with any of my kids when they were home. Okay.
Now, I don't know if I can ask this next question, Jackie. So the question, I know the answer, but I just want to hear you explain it. It's that I wrote down, what do you mean by limitations that others put on you? So I just want to hear you explain it.
So walking limitations by other people's definitions. So the book, Walking Limitations, was my very first book. So I didn't know what I was doing. I just did the book. There was nobody would help me. So I figured out this is what I did. And I'm like, I've come a long way, baby. But what I mean by other people's definition is because the walking limitations that the doctor put on me, I didn't have any control over those. The medical stuff, I didn't have any control over those. But by other people's definition, what happened between my ex-husband and I, those were walking limitations that I didn't control either. But after that, the decisions that I made, the choices that I made, those were walking limitations I put on myself. So we can't control the walking limitations that other people put on us. We can't control how another person, what they say to us, how they feel about us, what they do to us. We can't control their actions. How we respond, that's where we control that. So the other people's definitions, people can say, you know what, if I were you, I wouldn't. I had somebody tell me, if I were you, I wouldn't take all that medicine. Well, you're not me. Number one, you don't walk in pain every single day. So you don't know what you would do if you were in my shoes. I would never say that if I were you, I wouldn't do this or I wouldn't do that. Each person has to do what they know to do, their own selves. But when we put our limitations on somebody else, you have to be strong enough to fight through that. And I had to learn how to fight through it, because I took a lot. I took a lot off of people. I mean, people saying whatever they wanted to say. I had my kids. I had no child support. It was difficult. And so when people dropped scraps, you know, I took them, and then not only did they drop straps, but they felt like they can treat me any kind of way. And I accepted it, not because I was weak. I was weak, but I accepted that at the time because I needed support for my children. And I didn't want to say anything to jeopardize the care that I needed for them. So when I grew and I learned that, you know what, I didn't have to accept that, but I did what I had to do at the time. Oh man, I tell people now, you rather walk through hell with gasoline draws on now, because I'm not that same one. because I learned how to love myself. And when you learn how to love yourself, you don't have to accept anything that anybody puts you through. Nothing. And it took me a while to learn that. And I think it was easier for me to learn as my children got older. But it's very difficult to learn when they're dependent on you. And if you don't have enough money to pay your light bill or enough money to get food, and they're dependent on you, the last thing you need to do is be nasty and smart mouth with somebody so they can withdraw their support. And you got 3 mouths to feed. I wasn't worrying about myself, because if they ate, then I'm good. So I had to learn that other people's definition is not something I have to accept. I get to choose. I didn't know that before. I know that now, but I know that I didn't know it then.
That's good. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Denise. Now, I'm going to bring you back down to the audience, okay? All right. So, I always got a surprise, but before we get to the surprise, I want to say congratulations for you placing in the Listen Linda Women of Excellence Award. So I'm going to play your video that I made all of my winners. I'm going to go ahead and play you guys because Laquita placed, we had 13 candidates, and Laquita placed 5th place in the Listen Linda Women of Excellence Award. So here is her video.
Hey there, I'm Inspiration, and boy do I have a story to tell you about an amazing woman named Dr. Laquita Parks. Dr. Parks has faced some tough challenges in her life, like living with lupus and overcoming childhood medical trauma. These weren't just minor setbacks. Lupus affected her daily life, while childhood medical experiences left lasting fears. But deep inside, a spark of strength was growing. But instead of letting these challenges define her, Dr. Parks made a decision that changed everything. She turned her experiences into a powerful voice for others facing similar struggles. As a virtual international speaker and global podcaster, Dr. Parks connects with people all around the world. She shares her story, spreading hope and showing that even in tough times, we can rise and make a difference. And now, Dr. Parks has been nominated for the Listen Linda Women of Excellence Award. This award recognizes women who are making a real difference in their communities and beyond. It's a testament to Dr. Parks' incredible impact and tireless efforts. Dr. Laquita Parks, you truly deserve your flowers. Your story and voice matter, and you continue to inspire us all. From patients finding hope to audiences being moved to action, Dr. Parks' influence touches countless lives. She's not just overcoming challenges, she's helping others do the same.
Girl, oh my gosh. That is absolutely
Isn't it beautiful?
amazing. It is.
I love my little cartoon thing.
Oh my
They
goodness.
cute. Look, you about to
Okay.
cry. No, don't cry, girl. Don't cry, girl. I love you so much. I'm so excited because I like people who say, "Oh, Jackie, you being biased." No. I put a Facebook poll out there. If you didn't get picked, it's not my fault. Okay. I put the poll out there. It was the people's choice. Okay. It was the people's choice. But I say that the people made the right choice with the 5 that was chosen. Okay. Because these are absolutely phenomenal women. Don't cry yet. Don't cry yet. Because I got another surprise that's coming right up.
On April 16th, 2009, my world changed forever. I was standing there about to bury my grandma when the news hit me like a ton of bricks. Y'all ever felt like the whole world was telling you who to be? Like you're walking through life with chains on your feet? That's how I felt, trapped by other folks' expectations. But let me tell you something, sugar. God don't make no mistakes. I had to learn to love myself, flaws and all. Because how you gonna love others if you can't even love yourself? This book right here, it's my journey, from broken to blessed. It's about finding strength in your darkest moments, about rising above the pain and the doubt. Because baby, you're stronger than you know. And I'm here to tell you, you can break free too. It's time to redefine your story and reclaim your power. Because remember, love conquers all fears. Are you ready to walk beyond your limitations? To embrace the beautiful, powerful you that God created? Join me on this journey, sugar. Get your copy of Walking Limitations today, and let's break free together.
What do you think?
Wow.
What you think?
Wow. Oh my
Like it,
goodness.
girl?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so
Like
much.
it, girl?
Oh my goodness. Those are beautiful. Thank you
Thank you,
so
girl.
much. They are beautiful. Oh wow. Oh wow. Wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh wow.
So, for those of
Wow.
you who do not know, the Listen Linda Women of Excellence Awards is a virtual ceremony. You guys know I love virtual. Okay, I don't see an in-person thing happening for me no time soon. I just love virtual ceremonies. But it is happening May 2nd at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So right here, you'll see it on Facebook, you'll see it on LinkedIn, you'll see it on YouTube, on all platforms, if I possibly can. And we have 5 extraordinary women. We have Pastor Akila. We have Leanne Hendrick. We have Tammy Lambert. We have Carolyn Coleman, and we have Dr. Parks. All of these women will come together, and they all will receive a plaque. They all will also receive a one-on-one interview with me, as well as a feature in the Listen Linda magazine. And that is a package of $500. So I want to say congratulations to everybody who won the Listen Linda Women of Excellence Awards. And I hope to do another one soon. So be on the lookout for that. But now back to Walking Limitations. Now I get to ask my questions. And you mentioned being teased in school, and that was one of my questions. Despite being teased and bullied in school, you continue to persevere. What advice would you give to young people today facing similar bullying or physical challenges?
Know your voice. Know your voice. You have a voice. A lot of times people get bullied because they don't have a voice. Sometimes if you just say, leave me alone, they back off. But when they know that you don't have a voice, you become the target. If they like, okay, hey, she's not gonna do anything, she's not gonna tell, she probably gonna sit and cry, you make yourself a target. So I would say, if you don't know your voice, find your voice and use your voice, because your bully is only as strong as you.
Absolutely.
So if you're weak, then they're weak, and in their weakness, they're exhibiting the bully. But know your voice, find your voice, use your voice, and don't be afraid to fight back.
Absolutely. Carolyn says, hello, everyone. Sorry, I have been listening. Laquita, I love you to life. Everybody else is saying that they just beautiful. They love the videos. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Looking back, how did your early beliefs about marriage shape your expectations, and what lessons did you learn after living through a very different reality?
I had no pattern. And there are people say, so when I got married, I married in a fairy tale of what I thought marriage should be like. I had no clue. I thought, hey, it would be the white picket fence, and it would be, I think I talk about No Fairy Tales. That's my favorite song about Anita Baker. I thought it would be, we would be married forever. I thought that we would have, everything that we needed. It would be just like we saw on TV. The Father Knows Best, or, Leave It to Beaver, and all those fake shows. But I didn't have anybody to tell me what marriage was like or what it should be like. What I know now is, I know it takes two, and I wish I knew then what I know now. Would my marriage have lasted? I don't know, because it takes two. So it wasn't just me. The person that I was married to was insecure, was immature, and I was too. We were young, but the difference between he and I is that when you become a mother, a lot of mothers, when you become a mother, that child or those children become first.
Mhm.
I wasn't first. I didn't put myself first. I didn't take care of myself first. If I knew then, I would know that I could take care of myself and take care of them.
Mhm.
So, but they were my responsibility. So my idea of marriage now is communication, communication, communication. It is important. I think Denise said it. Sometimes we don't say anything. We excuse things because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or we don't want. For me, you don't want there to be any, any fighting or anything like that. So I would now communicate, be more honest about my feelings, and I would not have gotten married because I was pregnant. Because I did. I would not have gotten married because I was pregnant. I was pressured because I felt like that was the right thing to do. I was pregnant. I needed to get married. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I would have spent more time getting to know me. And so a lot of times when you're missing out on love, when you don't get that love and that attention and affection that you need, then you migrate to that which says, "Hey, pretty," to that which is kind to you, to get to that which is nice to you. And he was in the beginning, it was just he and I. And so he was he never picked at me about my leg. He never made fun of me. He went to the doctor with me. So he wasn't all bad. But then there were things that happened, and substances came into the picture, and that changed to who he turned out to be. So I would do a lot of things. Mainly, I would get to know who Laquita is first.
And it says you went through incredible physical and emotional pain after the birth of your daughter. How did becoming a mother during such a difficult time strengthen or challenge your sense of purpose?
That was a difficult time when I had Shantae. I had a bowel obstruction, so I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I was told they don't usually keep the baby there 2 weeks. If there's somebody at home to take care of the baby, they send them. But that wasn't the case with me. They kept her. She stayed there the whole time I did. I had to see her through a glass, so I didn't get a chance to bond with her. I didn't get a chance to hold her and play with her because with the bowel obstruction, I had a fever and they wouldn't let me get close to her. But I knew, but I loved that little girl through the window.
Mhm.
You know, I had to grow up. It was just she and I. Know nothing about being. They ain't know nothing about birthing no babies. But when I came, when we got released, and we got released at the same time, of course. When we got released, and I'm like, okay, he and I were just figuring it out together. There were my mom and my grandmother would say, "Oh, you need to not do this with this child, or you need to not do that with this child." And you listen to people who are saying things, but you got to do what you can feel, what you feel like you can
Feel it's
do.
right.
But I had a warning from my grandmother though when I was pregnant with Shantae. I remember, as you're hormonal, and I remember being snappy and my grandmama used to say, let me tell you something. You better raise that youngin. So if anything happens to you, somebody else will want to be bothered with it. And I never forgot that. So I raised my children, starting with Shantae. I raised her and then the other three so that if anything happened to me, somebody would want to take my children. And everybody would always say, "Oh, your children are so mannerable. They're so this. They're always saying thank you. They're good kids." Nobody minded taking them to places, taking them out of town, taking them on trips. So, and I did that on purpose because all I kept thinking is, if something happens to me, who's gonna want to take my
That's
children?
how I am. I try to raise my boys, me and my husband, we try to raise them where they're mannerable, where they're respectful, where they love God, they get good grades, and I'm just grateful because if something were to happen to me or to him or to both of us at one time, I know a plethora of people who would love to have my boys.
Mhm, mhm.
They would love to have these two gentlemen that open doors for women and pull
Yep.
out their chairs and stand on the side of the road, keep them on the inside, and take groceries in, put the groceries away. They can cook, they can mop, they can clean, they can iron, they
Mhm,
can do laundry, they do
mhm,
it all. And I think it's more so about them being self-sufficient but I know in my heart that like if anything were to happen to me, I don't have a care in the world about how my kids are going to be.
Mhm.
Because I know if don't nobody here take them, it's a plethora of the women in the waiting room who would love to have Jaden and Marvin in their
They're good kids.
household.
They are.
They
They
gonna
are
be
good
like
kids.
queens. Okay.
Yeah, they truly are good kids. They are.
Yes, yes, yes. So that was a great answer to that question, by the way. Before we get into any more questions, I want to take a break to have a word from our sponsors, which is me. Let's just say what it is. Let me just play this little clip and then we're gonna get back, y'all.
In the darkest storms, we found our brightest light. We are mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. We've faced illness, loss, betrayal, and doubt, but through it all, we never lost faith. We prayed when the world said it was hopeless. We stood tall when others said we should fall. We found strength in our diversity and unity in our shared belief. Through every raindrop, we grew stronger. With every prayer, we rose higher. Our stories are different, but our strength is the same. We are the women of Through the Rain. Join us on this journey of faith and resilience. Contact Jacqueline Cox via Facebook Messenger for more information. Submit your interest by May 7th, because when rain falls, our spirits rise.
Yes, when
Yeah.
rain
Amen.
falls, our spirits
Wow.
rise. Ain't that
Amen.
beautiful?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
So if you would like to be a part of Through the Rain anthology, like the video said, please contact me through Facebook Messenger. Comment I'm in, and I will give you more information. Um, I didn't say submissions were due by May 7th. Just submit your interest in being involved. It's by May 7th. May 7th is the last day I'm taking interest inquiries, and then we all will have a group meeting to discuss moving forward. Okay. So submissions are not due until August the 30th. Okay. And the book should be released by November 28th. Okay. So let's just keep that in mind. Payment plans and financing is available for qualified applicants. Anyone who has been a part of any of my prior anthologies, all 5 of them, if you are a returning co-author, you will get $100 credit towards your fee for being involved in the Through the Rain anthology. Okay. So back to the questions. I got a couple more, and then I'm gonna try to see if we can take some questions from you to the audience. Right now, we have Carolyn, Myra, Denise, and Sandra. Okay, I want you to ask them questions, and whoever get it correct, they will get the prize. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
I just got a couple more for you. Um, in your journey through an abusive marriage and painful divorce, what inner strength or faith helped you finally make the decision to leave for the sake of yourself and your children?
Girl, Cray Cray into the house one night.
I'll call them great.
No, just the whole crazy. I during that time, I remember praying. There's a whole lot going on, and I remember praying, Lord, change my situation. Lord, change my situation. I know that God answers prayers, but when you pray, be careful. Be ready for how that prayer is going to be answered. Every single day, all day would be, Lord, change my situation. Lord, change my situation. And that fateful night, he did. It wasn't in the way that I was expecting. I didn't expect that he would that there would be a domestic violence issue where the police had to be called and he was taken to jail. That's not how I knew or how I even anticipated that my situation would change. But that situation allowed me, just open doors for me to be able to get out. To get out of the house and to get the kids. It was a battle. It was a battle though. Even during that time, my ex-husband's sister was an attorney, and they knew he was wrong, but that was her brother. And so it's like I fought, and I felt like I was fighting alone, but I wasn't fighting alone. There were people at the church that I attended at the time who knew him because his mom was the pianist at that church at the time. Well, before she had passed away. So they had history with him. And so there were some that were on my side. There were some that were on his side. I remember one lady, and she's passed away now, but I remember her standing in the middle of the church one Sunday, telling me I should be ashamed of myself. And he suffered enough. He suffered enough. And I was like, he suffered. What about me? I got these 3 kids. What about me? And so people sometimes that, I learned that sometimes it doesn't matter. People will uphold people in their wrong if they have a connection to them. I love you, but I'm not going to uphold you in your wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And if I'm a friend, if I'm a friend or you're a friend, you should be able to tell me I'm wrong. And that's the type of people I have in my circle. It's like, what, sis, you wrong. You're wrong for that. But in our emotions, sometimes we can't see our part. So that fateful night led to my strength. There were several incidents where, I would get stronger. I remember, I don't remember if I put it in the book, and I may have, one incident where I went to the store and he was supposed to give me money and he didn't. And I don't get out. Where you going? And I wouldn't say. And he said, well, you can't tell me where you going, then I ain't giving you nothing. But he didn't say nothing. He said in his terms. And so I felt broken at that moment because I had told the kids, we'll get the money and I was going to treat them to a movie. It was just a $1 movie. I was going to take them to the $1 movie. And when he said no, I was just defeated. And at that moment, I started walking out the store, like with my head tucked between my tail. I was just defeated. And I walked through the door and something said, oh, no, ma'am. No, not today. And so I was like, and I only had like a couple dollars in my purse and it was like bill money. Mm-hmm. And I said, we're going in here. We're going shopping. So I put the baby in the basket and I grabbed the other 2 and we went in the store. And my son, and he started following us through the store. He was at work. It was his job. He started following us through the store and he took my son and snatched him through the other aisle. And I'm like, he was harassing me in the store. And all of a sudden, Chanel showed up. Laquita Chanel. Laquita just went on somewhere, but Chanel showed up. And I said, somebody need to tell me why this employee is harassing me. And so he, and then we were playing because we were playing tug of war with my son. He was pulling him one way. I was pulling him one way. And so finally somebody called his name over the loudspeaker to come to the office. And so I remember looking at my son and my son was crying. He was crying. And I looked at him and I said to him, listen, there are 2 people in this world who are obligated to take care of you, your dad and me. I said, your dad is wrong. I said, one day, and he was 8 years old, and I taught him he might have been 6 or 7. I taught him he learned a very hard lesson that day. I said, one day you're going to grow up and you're going to meet a woman and you hopefully you guys will get married. But if you have a child, you will be responsible for that child until the day you die. Until the day they die. I said, your dad is wrong and wrong deserves no tears. So dry your face. Wrong deserves no tears. And I said it to him. He learned a hard lesson that day. And I went on and I got my groceries. But from that point on, I'm like, I'm not the same person. I left Laquita on the outside of that store. Mm-hmm. Chanel came out that store. Mm-hmm. And that's when, and then the fight was on. I got stronger. It's like, no, you're not going to talk to me in any kind of way. No, you're not going to say this to me. No, you're not going to this. No, we're not going back and forth. We're not doing that. So he met my crazy. My crazy showed up that I didn't even know I had. And so I started positioning myself with everybody. Still very nice, still very kind. And it takes a lot to push me, but not as much. And I made myself a promise. I said, I'm not going to say I won't meet the same type of person, but I guarantee you it won't take me 13 years to get out of a relationship or even get in, because I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this. And so things don't impress me as they used to. You know, you taking me out to dinner don't impress me. I can feed my own self.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm glad you mentioned that because after your divorce, you mentioned searching for your identity outside of being a wife or a mother. What steps did you take to rediscover who you were? And how did that transformation impact your life moving forward?
yeah, the best way I can explain that. So when I was married, I got married at 19, had my first child at 20. I didn't know anything. Okay. But I was in a cage, right? So the whole time in the marriage, learning, growing, I'm still in this cage. And then one day after the marriage was over, I was still in this cage. So I didn't know that the door was left open. So you know how you're moving around and then you kind of lean and then the door opens and you're sitting there like, did that door open?
Is that light outside of there?
You know, and then I forgot there was some song, some gospel song where the guy says, "Who the hell left the gate open?"
Mhm.
So when I realized the gate was open, I put my foot outside and nothing happened. I came on out and I started, you know, my girlfriend was like, "Hey, let's go to this club." And I started going out. I like to dance and realized I like to dance. And then I started doing things with friends. Then I started dating, you know, I
Go
started
ahead, girl.
dating and I'm like, okay, you know what? This is kind of fun.
Mhm.
And I had the attitude at the time. I wasn't saved at that time. But I had the attitude that, you know what, hey, this is going to be a bumpy ride. If you want off the ride, then you're going to have to jump off because I'm not stopping.
Mhm.
And that was the attitude. It was, I'm not interested in anything serious. I just want to have fun. And that isn't long lasting. And I thank God that he saved me from myself before I got too crazy. And then, but I had a babysitter, two college girls that kept the kids. And I would go out. I was able to go out without worrying about somebody, you know, with them being where I was very, very cautious of who would watch my children, where they went, where they stayed. And I would tell them, hey, it's one of me and three of y'all.
Mhm.
And this is how we're gonna do this.
Mhm. Well, now it's time for the prizes. And in order to receive the prize, you have to answer the questions correctly. Okay. So, Laquita, what's the first question that you want to answer? Please, that you want to ask, please put your answers in the chat. Okay. Everybody must participate. Okay. And except for me, because I get them all and I can't win from myself. So,
There was it's through chapters 1 through 4, right?
no, chapters 1 through 8.
Chapters 1 through 8.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So there was a situation when I was in the hospital. There was a situation with my mother. What happened with my mother?
Put your answers in the chat. Denise said your mom tried to shoot the nurse. She won.
Yep, that's true.
All right, Denise. Denise, you have won an AI package, three free AI photos, okay? And they don't have to be professional. They can be however you want them to be. Just send me how you want to look and I can make it happen. So Denise, you won now.
Okay. Awesome. Yes, my mom tried to shoot the nurse because she told the nurse told my mom that it would not have happened to me if I hadn't have moved.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. She said if my mom wanted to know what happened, and she said it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have moved. So, and Gabby tearing up my office over here.
She wasn't even supposed to be sticking your legs. You was there for tonsils removal.
Right. I was not supposed to be. So there was go ahead and ask the next question.
So
There was another situation that happened with the doctor, and I went to see this doctor, and he said something to me that I felt was so very profound. What was it? Who can tell me what it was, or the situation that they might know what it is?
He said you were the secret.
Yes.
All right, Sandra. You want to,
Exactly.
girl.
Exactly.
AI
Sandra.
photos. They can be
Exactly.
however you want them to be. Or
Exactly.
Carolyn,
Yeah.
you was a couple seconds too late. Sandra done beat you to the punch. But yeah, you are the
He
secret.
said I was the
Wow.
secret. I was
How
the
did that make
secret.
you feel for him to tell you that?
You know what? That whole situation was really crazy because when I came in, I didn't go into the examining room. I'd never been told to come into the office. And when I walked in, he was kind of looking at me, and he came and he was like, "Tell me what happened. Tell me about yourself." And I said, I told him what happened, and he said, he had the timeline. He said that was around, 1973, blah 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 blah. And then he got up and he came around and he sat on his credenza and he said, "You were it. It was you." And I'm like, "What?" And he said there was a big hush. There was a secret. You could tell something happened. And he was a visiting doctor from New York. And he said, "It was you. It was you." And then he took me into the examining room and he told me, and I've held on to that since that time. He said, there are going to be people they're going to be doctors who are going to tell you they can fix what happened to you. They can fix your leg. They can't. Nobody can. And don't let them try. They will only be practicing on you. So he said, "What do you like to do?" And I said, at that time I had lost a lot of weight and I was doing the Michael Jackson Wii. And I said, "I like to dance." And he said, keep dancing, because there is going to come a time when you won't be able to dance anymore. You will be crippled. And I felt like I went to my car and I cried and I cried and I cried. But I had great respect for him because he was the only one up to that time that had been very honest with me. And here over the last couple of years, I saw a vascular doctor, and that vascular doctor said that it would have been better if they would have amputated. He kind of said that because there isn't anything that can be done. And every day when I have to use my walker or use my rollator, I think about that. I think about the doctor. But that was another part of coming to the acceptance of this is what it is. It is what it is. And also giving myself grace. My friend said to me the other day, I was just going through, it's like, it's hard for me to walk. I can't do the things I used to do. And he said, "Laquita, how many people do you know have had surgery, 15 surgeries on one foot?" He was like, "Who cares what people say? They haven't been through what you've been through." And so that helped me to see some things and give myself some grace. But it's still, I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So one more, is it 3 or one more question?
No, I think that's gonna just about
Two.
do it.
Two.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my budget for the day.
Okay. All right, good.
But I appreciate you all for coming on for the last week of the Walking Limitations. Dr. Parks, I appreciate you so much for just signing up to get this book noticed and recognized, because even though it's been noticed, been recognized, been talked about, but to really see the impact of what your story means to so many people. I'm trying to bring everybody up because I want to bring everybody up to just give a comment to Dr. Parks before we head out. Let's start with Carolyn Coleman. Do you have a comment or a question that you want to ask Dr. Parks while we're here?
No, I just put it in the chat. I just appreciate your transparency, even though that is your personal story. I've heard you read other people's story, and I've told you before, I just love your voice and I love the way you read. It's not just calling words, but it's bringing that person into the world of whatever you're reading.
Thank
So I
you.
just want to
Absolutely.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get Denise Walker. Any more last comments or questions?
No, I just want to say again, Lakita, thank you for sharing your story. There are so many people that need that story. I always say that God has not put so much in us, and even we never know that people can see your testimony. Just there's no testimony without a test, and so we see that, and we see you walking through it with grace. So that's all I wanted to add.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And everybody who's watching, if from the book club, if you have not left your review on Amazon, I will be going tomorrow to check. Please leave your reviews, not just for Dr. Parks, but also for Denise Walker and Audrey Ann Moses. Everybody in the book club must leave a review for the author, the book of the month. Okay, so please leave your reviews. Myra Cook, you are the main person. You always leave your reviews on time, girlfriend. Thank you so much for that. Do you have a question or a comment for Dr. Parks?
Yes, I really enjoyed this book. Some of the things that you went through, I saw some in me, because I've had 4 hip replacements on my left hip, and it's just everybody telling you different things. You need to do this. You need to go on disability. You need to do. No, when I can still move around, why should I go on disability? And you have to be strong for your children. Cause I too worked 2 jobs and went back to school, so I could make sure that they had everything. And I really appreciate your story.
Thank you so much, Miss Myra.
And last but certainly not least, the next month's book of the month and author of the month, Sandra Washington. Do you have anything you want to add, or any comments or questions for Dr. Parks?
I do, and I have this comment. I am so glad that you realize that God is in control. No matter what you go through, no matter how many times you have to go through it and what people tell you, God is in control. As I look forward to launching my podcast in May, I am looking forward to anyone that wants to tell their story, to not just help yourself, but help others. Please reach out to me and say, hey, Sandra, I would love to be on your show. The flyers and everything should be out first. I am giving Listen Linda the members of Listen Linda the first opportunity to be on before I release it to everyone else. So you guys get first dibs. Thank you.
For a small fee. Don't forget that. So contact Sandra Washington. You can contact her on her Facebook. You can message her on Facebook and get your slot fast, because they're going fast. They're going fast.
Yes, they will go fast. One other thing that I do want to mention is, because it's for my nonprofit, any funds that you pay to be on my show are tax deductible. So you are actually able to write those fees off on your taxes when you do your taxes for 2025.
All right. Well, thank you. And Sandra is also the next month. What is the name of your book that we're bringing in next month?
It's called Your Voice, Your Tool. It teaches you how to actually take full control of your healthcare journey. As Laquita stated earlier, your health insurance does matter. It does indeed matter, but there's some other things that matter as well, and those things you need to know about. So it's called Your Voice, Your Tool. I am asking that if you do purchase it, please purchase it off of the website, because once again, it's tax deductible. The book is tax deductible. The interview is tax deductible. Anything that you do with me is tax deductible. So please keep that in mind and order it from the website.
And this is the website below. Is that the website, Sandra?
Yes, that is the website, www.medihelps.com. There is a free gift that you will receive when you purchase the book. So I'm asking once again that you do purchase it off of my website, of our website.
And what's the name of the book again?
Your Voice, Your Tool.
All right. And um that is the name of the next month's book club book of the month. Before we head out, I would like to ask Miss Denise Walker to pray us out.
Absolutely. Lord, we thank you for this time of fellowship. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to share the stories that you've placed inside of us, the things that we have walked through, Lord God. We know that we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So, God, we thank you for Lakita and others who will share their stories through this book club and through other podcasts. God, we just thank you for it. And we bless you. And we thank you for all that Jackie is doing. And we pray a blessing to her and her family, Lord, as she pours out, that you pour back into her. In Jesus' name, we thank you, Lord, and we give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Now, before we go,
Amen.
if anybody would like to purchase Walking Limitations, you can do so at the website below. Laquita, is there any last words you want to say, or anything, any new thing that you have coming up that you want to let people be aware of?
I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to read my story. It's my true story of my walking limitations. That's just part of the story. And of course, we can't put our whole story in a book, but this is part of the story. I'll be working on the second part coming up. I won't say soon, but eventually will come up. And you know what? Everybody goes through everything that we go through. I always say 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, and somebody's waiting on the other end of your story so that they can get healing from our stories. The only stories we can't heal from are the ones we don't share. So oftentimes we look at somebody and say, okay, they don't understand what I'm going through, or they don't understand what I've been through. But you can't look at a person and tell what their life is like. You can't look at a person and tell where they've been nor where they're going. So I appreciate sharing the story. I'm glad that my story has power, and everybody's story has power. And I ask that you share my story. There was never, ever any compensation for what has happened to me. And I have been paying for everything that has happened to me. I've been paying for it since I was 4 years old. And what happened to me was not my fault. It was neglect from somebody else. So share my story. One day I hope that the powers that be will hear my story and, answer the question, how did I go into the hospital to have my tonsils removed and came out crippled for life? Because the last time I checked, the throat bone not connected to the leg bone. So somebody one day before I leave this earth will give an answer to it. I do have my the power of words and feelings starting on May 1st. So if you are interested in taking that challenge with me while we examine if our words and our feelings align to the word of God, or are we just in our feelings? It's a challenge that I'm taking for myself, and I invite you to take it with me. It's free. Just get the book. You can purchase the book from me or purchase it off Amazon. Jacqueline, did you get your book?
I sure did.
Okay.
I got it in the mail a couple of days ago.
All right.
I'm ready, girl.
Yes. So thank you. And hey, Paper V Publishing, if you are looking to tell your story and you need help, and if there's anything I can do to help you, you can reach me at payprovpublishing.com. And with that being said, Jacqueline, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it because it's been a plump, pleasing pleasure, better than a triple-decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, you guys.
All right.
See you guys not next week, but the week after. So, because I want to give you guys enough time to receive your books from Sandra. Please, you guys, please, please, please contact Sandra at www.metahelpswithaz.com and purchase your book. That will give us enough time to get ready for the book club. So, Sandra, not this Sunday coming up, but the following Sunday, we will start our first discussion because I want to make sure that we give people enough time to purchase your book.
I do have a question in reference to that.
Mm-hmm.
That following week is Mother's Day.
That Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, so if maybe for the month, for that first week, if we can meet on that Saturday, we'll see how we're gonna work that out, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to mess up, just like I ain't want to mess up nobody resurrection, honey. I don't want to mess up nobody Mother's Day. Okay. So we gonna try to see if we can move that date to Saturday at 5 p.m. Okay. Just so we can make sure that we reserve Mother's Day for all the beautiful mothers out there. Okay. And Gabby, I got a surprise for you, Mama. So we're gonna wait for it, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, you guys. It's been a plump, pleasing pleasure.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
On April 16th, 2009, my world changed forever. I was standing there about to bury my grandma when the news hit me like a ton of bricks. Y'all ever felt like the whole world was telling you who to be? Like you're walking through life with chains on your feet? That's how I felt, trapped by other folks' expectations. But let me tell you something, sugar. God don't make no mistakes. I had to learn to love myself, flaws and all. 'Cause how you gonna love others if you can't even love yourself? This book right here, it's my journey, from broken to blessed. It's about finding strength in your darkest moments, about rising above the pain and the doubt. 'Cause baby, you're stronger than you know. And I'm here to tell you, you can break free too. It's time to redefine your story and reclaim your power. 'Cause remember, love conquers all fears. Are you ready to walk beyond your limitations? To embrace the beautiful, powerful you that God created? Join me on this journey, sugar. Get your copy of Walking Limitations today, and let's break free together.